The Call from the Dark, Part 2. The forest felt different this time. As Daniel moved between the trees, the air grew thick, damp, oppressive. The branches above knotted together, blocking out what little daylight remained. The deeper he went, the quieter it became. His pulse pounded in his ears. He wasn't sure why he kept walking. Maybe it was guilt, maybe it was something else, something pulling him forward. The sound of footsteps crunched behind him. Daniel froze. It wasn't the wind. It wasn't an animal. Slow, deliberate. He turned sharply, shining his phone's flashlight into the darkness. The beam cut through the mist, illuminating twisted branches and damp leaves. But there was nothing. Just emptiness. A flicker of movement. He spun around. A shadow shifted between the trees just beyond the light's reach. A small figure. His breath caught. Emma? The figure didn't move. Daniel took a cautious step closer, the wet leaves sticking to his boots. His fingers trembled as he reached out, as if touching the air itself would confirm she was real. Then the figure twitched. Not stepped, not turned, twitched. Like a puppet on invisible strings. Daniel stumbled back, his foot catching on a root. He hit the ground hard, pain jolting up his spine. His phone slipped from his grasp, its light spinning wildly. For a split second, the beam illuminated her face. Hollow eyes, mouth slightly open, as if frozen mid-scream, skin too pale, too still. Then she moved, not walked, not ran, dragged. Her feet barely lifted from the ground as she lurched forward. Daniel scrambled backward, his heartbeat thundering in his ears. His breath came in ragged gasps. Then a new sound, low, crackling, distorted, his phone. The screen flickered as it began dialing, on its own. The speaker crackled, static hissing through the silence, then a voice, faint, warped. Daniel, don't run. Daniel's chest tightened. His shaking hands grabbed the phone, his fingers scrambling to turn it off. But the screen was frozen. The call continued, a breath, a whisper. You left me once. Daniel squeezed his eyes shut. This isn't real. Don't leave me again. A sharp, high-pitched click, and the call ended. Silence. Daniel's hands shook as he pulled himself up, stuffing his phone into his pocket. His whole body felt like ice. His breath came in shallow gasps. Then, a sound behind him, too close. A low, rasping inhale. Daniel ran. His feet pounded against the forest floor, slipping on the damp earth. The branches whipped at his arms, tearing at his skin. The flashlight's beam swung wildly as he sprinted toward the road, his lungs burning. The footsteps behind him kept pace. Faster. Closer. Daniel could see the edge of the forest now, the pale glow of the streetlights just beyond the trees. If he could just make it, a hand clamped around his wrist. Cold, unnatural. His scream died in his throat, and then everything went black.